I did a little bit of research on the data centers and the cancer vaccine and Project Stargate. I wanted to share my best understanding of what is in the pipeline. Now, there isn't a lot of clear, solid information, so it's some clues here and there, but this is the best I have been able to figure out. One of several uses for the data center will include Project Stargate. That was Trump's announcement for an AI cancer vaccine. It appears the way that will work is someone will go to the doctor, have blood work done, and a simple blood test could determine that there are cancer markers within their body. Artificial intelligence can make a personalized cancer vaccine for them, or the companies don't really like to call it a vaccine because they say it's not a preventative, it's a treatment. Within 48 hours, a cure, quote unquote, will become available for that person for their individual cancer in their individual body. Initially, this is only going to be available at hospitals and cancer centers, but ultimately it will be available at the standard doctor's office. And again, please do your own research. I'm just sharing the best understanding I have. This is currently in trials, and regulatory approval could be submitted as early as this year sometime or 2027. Moderna and Merck are the two companies that are going to be working on this. If you notice on the screen, the name for this is called Intismeran autogene. They're not going to call it a vaccine because it's a treatment, not a preventative. The two companies have their candidates named mRNA 4157 and the other is 940. So being curious, I looked to see what 4157 means in the Strong's Concordance. In Greek, 4157 means breath. It symbolizes the life imparted in creation and sustained continually. In Hebrew, it's a condition of constriction, crushing pressure, or oppressive distress that weighs heavily upon those who experience it. The other company's candidate is 940. They're very secretive about the name and aren't yet ready to release the official name. In Greek, 940 means to bewitch or to cast an evil eye. In Hebrew, it's a Buzzite or a descendant of Buzz. The one name which has been released for the cancer vaccine, quote unquote, is Intismeran autogene. So looking into that name to see what it means, if anything, the miron is part of mRNA, the messenger. Intis has two meanings. One of them is a Peruvian currency which is no longer being used, and it's also named after the Incan sun god named Inti. Intis is the plural form meaning multiple sun gods. That's a drawn depiction of that sun god right there. I thought this part was interesting. There's one myth that shows this sun god is the son of the earth goddess Pachamama and the sky god. And if that name sounds familiar to you, it's because it was the center of a controversy with the Pope. That was the tree planting ceremony. That statue was said to be a mother goddess that was part of fertility, as well as the universe, life, and nature. As you remember, that ceremony didn't go over very well. Isn't it interesting that within the cancer vaccine is a connection to that deity? The sun god and his mama, that's the statue the Pope received years ago. And here is his sun design, which some may say looks a lot like this. There's something in the cancer vaccine which is going to have what's called STING. That's an acronym, all capital letters. Sting is used as an adjuvant. It will be an ingredient that will trigger a powerful, targeted immune response against tumor cells. The ligand-induced ordering of the C-terminal tail, also called a CTT, is the mechanism that will switch the STING protein from an inactive silent state into an active immune alerting machine. The sting is in the tail. Revelation 9, verse 10, they had tails like scorpions, and there were stings in their tails. Their power was to hurt men 5 months, and they had a king over them from the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek he had the name Apollyon. That word angel is angelos. It means a messenger. One verse that lingers in the back of my mind when I look at the cancer vaccine, quote unquote, is in Matthew 16. Whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. And that's not something I think lightly about. My mother died of cancer, and I remember at one point in her treatment being told they were working on a vaccine, so someday someone could have personalized cancer treatment just for them. And at that time in my life, I thought it was a fabulous idea, and I wished that they had it available when my mom was still alive. However, as time has passed, I can't help but think of that verse and see what's going on. And I don't want to sound like all doom and gloom, but the fact is we may be facing this in our lifetime, and we should be thinking about what decisions we might make if we are faced with that. And it is a really good time to keep studying, be in the Word, pray, and just keep growing spiritually. Don't dwell on things which are negative in the world, but don't stick your head in the sand and be oblivious to them either.